Hey guys, so I'm gonna react to the new political party that Elon Musk has created. I think it's called the American Party. This is from NBC News YouTube channel. It was just released around 21 hours ago, so that would be July 5th, 2025. Let's see.
Tonight, on the heels of President Trump, Tonight, on the heels of President Trump signing his massive domestic policy bill into law, his former close ally, Elon Musk, announcing the formation of a new political party. Musk, the world's richest person, taking
It's just this is so stupid that Musk is doing this, considering that he spent hundreds of millions of dollars. Right, I think he spent over 100 or more, like $100 million or more, just on Trump's campaign to help him win. You could have done the opposite and assisted Kamala to win, and she would not have fucked over the whole solar and electric uh, renewable energy sources and research that we've been doing in manufacturing solar panels, EVs, and all of that. And the fact that he just went and supported the guy who literally said multiple times he doesn't agree with green energy, he doesn't want renewable energy, he wants coal back, he wants the whole gas and oil, he wants to get rid of EVs. Like Trump was very obviously against all these things, right? It's from the silent. It's from Trump is from the silent generation, and in general, people from the silent generation, boomers and Gen X to a lot of them tend to kind of lean against certain modern policies and technology, like renewable. Some points I can understand. Solar, electric, renewable energies are not always enough to be to power entire cities, never mind entire countries. But a combination effort of really advanced technology to help support solar energy, electric energy, wind energy, etc. is a good thing. In some cases, you can maybe provide entire energy sources just through renewable energy for several towns, maybe entire cities like New York City. And then wherever you cannot produce enough energy, then you use fossil fuel when needed, you use gas and greenhouse gases. It makes sense. But you balance it out, kind of like having a car that is hybrid, um, and that makes sense. So that it can run on electric and also gas. It makes sense to have a backup plan, but completely eliminating renewable energy is not a good idea, especially when you're dealing with climate change. Which again, Musk was just being a dumbass. There's a guy who spent what $44 billion to buy Twitter. The Twitter was not even worth $5 billion, so he wasted so much money. It's a guy who just is a billionaire, doesn't know what to do with his money, and he wastes so fucking much. He's an idiot.
his social media site X to say, "We live in a one party system, not a democracy. Today, the America Party is formed to give you back your freedom."
Now, one thing I can say that this could be a good thing for especially progressives in the Democrat Party, because it could be possible that a lot of fans of Trump also fans of Musk, and they might split the vote between Trump and Musk's party, the American Party. So it could be possible that a few million people that will vote for Trump, maybe one, two, maybe even three, could be a few, could be 3 million people that will have voted for Trump might vote for the American Party instead. So it could cost Trump and just in general the Republican Party as a whole political positions. So it's possible they could screw the Republican Party and help the Democrat Party. I don't think the Democrats in general are going to switch from the Democrat Party to the American Party. I don't think they will do that for most Democrats, at least. I think a lot of the progressives are trying to change the Democrat Party from the inside out, which is a smart way to do it. In particular, the socialists, like Democrat socialists like Zoran Madani, are trying to do that because Democrat socialism is basically trying to implement socialism while also using Democrat principles. And the best way to do this is basically infiltrate the Democrat Party and change it from the inside, which is very possible. We have people like AOC, but in a sense, who are more like social democrats, arguably speaking, rather than pure socialists. But they will be a lot easier to work with if you're a socialist like myself, or I'm a Democrat socialist, than someone who's a pure Republican, like Musk or Trump, among others, right? Someone who's a corporate Democrat like Kamala Harris, Biden, they'll be pushed to do something good things. Social democrats and socialists can push them to the right thing a little bit, like signing laws to make sure that women have abortion rights, things like that, expanding social security benefits. So it is possible. You cannot do that with the Republican Party. That party has been done for decades. You cannot change. It's a cult now. It's been a cult for decades, but it's very obviously a cult. And in general, Republicans were always very reactionary. Kamala and Biden are really light Republicans, to be honest, in the general sense. They're not really progressives, but they'll still do more and able to work better with social democrats and socialists than any Republicans would.
Musk, who is President Trump's top campaign donor, has been feuding with the president over the so called One Big Beautiful Bill, which the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office says will add more than $3 trillion to the national debt over the next 10 years. Musk.
And not only adding trillions of dollars to the national debt, but keep in mind they also cut funding for Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, natural disasters, research, and initiatives and programs and assistance. They also cut down on a lot of benefits for people to get uh, scholarships and grants in private colleges. So a lot of the funding that universities get from federal government have been cut down. So less people are going to get scholarships and grants. If you want to get student loans, they are capped there, which is going to impact a lot of people who want to be doctors and lawyers, as an example. So it's going to be a lot hard because they may have to spend the rest of the money with private student loan companies. You don't want to do that. The interest rate is extremely high and less forgiving. So it's a big cycle of bullshit that's great for the rich and people who are really upper class. People making like individually 300K plus a year, they're gonna be fine. So if you make 300K or more individually, you're fine, even as a household. But if you're someone who doesn't, and maybe making say even if you make 100K a year by yourself, as a household, 100K to 200K, it's a lot of things going to be difficult. It's not going to be super easy. And for people to make the lowest of the lowest income households are going to suffer the most. It's not a good bill. It really screw up a lot of people. Some people might see benefits and say, oh, but I make 300K, I make 400K, 500K, so I'm good. But it's not just about you. It's screwing the bottom line so that the top of the top few people in the country can really benefit is not fair. We should benefit everyone equally, and especially not the rich and the wealthy. They already benefit so much. We should take more away from the rich and the wealthy, more from the multimillionaires and billionaires, instead of giving them more tax breaks and more benefits. Why do they get to keep socialism, but everyone else get rugged capitalism, right? Rug capitalism, like Dr. Kim talked about this too. It's not fair. So we get rug capitalism, and the wealthy get socialism. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Has referred to the legislation as a debt slavery bill and had been teasing a new political party for days. The Tesla CEO did not respond to questions from NBC News seeking clarity about today's announcement. The stock market's at an all-time high. For his part, President Trump has been celebrating the bill. The legislation extends the tax cuts from his first term, reduces taxes on tips and overtime pay, and provides funds for his immigration priorities.
Now, there's a big thing. The One Big Beautiful Bill provides billions of dollars for ICE. So ICE now will have the funding needed to be able to do extraordinary amount of ICE raids and just screw more people's civil rights. It's a big issue. The funding in the billions of dollars for ICE is bigger than some entire country's military funding. Keep that in mind that we have now bigger funding for ICE agency than countries have for their own military. Just so that Trump can have his own domestic military at home, his own domestic law enforcement, anytime he can send besides FBI, besides CIA, now he has ICE. This is really problematic. There's a whole other shit with the One Big Beautiful Bill that's really bad. And the whole reduces tax and tips and OT pay, keep in mind that that happens at the end of the tax year. So when people think, oh, I'm gonna be able to save so much money on taxes from my tips and OT, overtime pay, not realizing that if your standard deduction is higher than the taxes benefit you get from not having your tips and OT being taxed, you're actually not gonna get much of a benefit. People don't understand how taxes work, the basis of it, and so a lot of people are gonna realize that it's not really gonna help them much. It will help companies, owners of those restaurants, for instance, a lot more than the actual regular workers. And people don't get this because they have a bigger overhead, so they can really put bigger uh, this tax discounts when they file the tax return because of this bill. So if you own a business, and let's say you make $1 million a year before you have to subtract all the deductions, these tax cuts, these reduction on taxes on tips and OT could actually save you more money. So as a business owner, this could actually be good news for you. As a regular worker, you're not gonna see much of a benefit. And a lot of people don't understand this. You see people cheering who are Trump supporters saying this is amazing because they don't comprehend how filing taxes work. Not even the base of it. I'm not an accounting. I'm not an expert. I'm not saying I'm an expert. I'm not. You can consult with a tax lawyer or an accountant. Man, I'm not one. But in general, this is not going to benefit the regular workers as much as they think.
It also makes some of the biggest cuts in history to social safety net programs like Medicaid and food assistance. In Missouri, Kimberly Gallagher is worried about how the bill's new work requirements could affect her and her son's access to Medicaid. Her son Daniel.
A lot of people need to understand that Medicaid, SNAP are really used for families who need it. So people who have children who might be neurodivergent, have physical disabilities, or themselves have issues, mental illnesses, things that make it hard for them to get a job, be able to work full time or enough to qualify for other programs, they need the Medicaid to survive. So when you make it difficult with, oh, we're gonna cut Medicaid and Medicare, and by the way, we're gonna make harsher work requirements so you have to reach a certain amount of work hours throughout the month so they can keep qualifying for Medicaid. Some people are not gonna be able to do that because they have to take care of the kid 24/7. It's not fair for those people who really need the most help. Unfortunately, the people who really need SNAP and Medicaid and Social Security disability benefits, a lot of these people live in rural red areas. So they live in the more rural areas of your state that tend to be red, and they also tend to live in red states that already don't have funding to help them survive, and they just be kicked out of this program. Some of these cuts are going to be really feeling it during the midterm next year or just before the midterms, and then during the 2028 election. So whoever takes over, if Trump loses and Republican Party loses in 2028, let's say that happens, they can just switch rule, but look, now the Democratic Party, you guys are suffering so much. And now telling you that's because of the one big beautiful bill that Republicans passed in Congress and Trump signed to law. And people who are really ignorant, specifically the Trump supporters, are going to believe that. They did the first time they elected him. They did when they elected him, try again second time with Biden, but he lost. And they did again when they tried to vote for him. A third time, he won. So people need to keep that in mind that you cannot change the mind of Trump supporters. I think they are cold and they're done. Mentally speaking, they don't think for themselves. It's unfortunate. You can still educate the people in your house who do not vote or rarely have a vote. There ain't not many people that didn't vote. You can converse with those people and explain to them why voting matters and why they should take it seriously. So that midterm election, maybe as much as they try to rig, which the Republicans will try really hard, push people who normally wouldn't vote to vote, and that can make a big difference.
Has a rare genetic disorder and autism, and she is his primary caregiver. Medicaid is in every facet of our life. It's not just medical, it's financial, it's care. And to lose any of those parts would drastically change our lives. Yamish is traveling with the president tonight. Yamish, going back to Elon Musk's announcement of a new political party, what could his approach be? Well, Jose, we should note it's not clear at this point if Elon Musk has officially filed paperwork to start the America Party, but he has.
Yeah, it seems like Musk wants to do this, but we don't know how hard he wants to do it. Musk will need to know that this will spread the votes potentially be among the Republicans. It's not going to necessarily impact the Democrat voters as much. Some really impact the Republican voters, and the independent voters will normally vote Republican anyway, although unaffiliated. Most of those people are not voting for progressives. Let's just be real. That's a reality, and many statistics show that too. And many people I met, when they call themselves independents, they still vote for right wingers, specifically Republicans in most cases. So it's going to be something that could be a battle between Elon Musk, funding this American party and just put, American, obviously, someone born in this country who came run for president in it, and the team that will assist them. Maybe he'll go really full throttle with it. We will see.
Has said that a new party could target just a handful of seats in Congress and then act as the deciding vote on key laws. Jose? Michelle Sador in New Jersey with the president. Thank you so much. We thank you for watching and remember.
Yeah, so in my opinion, I think this is something that if it does happen, if Musk is really serious and make it official, it could be something that Trump might worry about. Because remember, they're still doing the propaganda and there's still a side war with the Republican Party that the midterms election could screw them. So they trying really hard to prep for it to make it as hard as possible for Democrats to win. And remember, Democrats themselves, corporate Democrats, do not want progressives to win, and definitely not Democrat socialists like Zoran Madani, who is running for the mayor of New York City, and he won the primary election. He's running, he needs to win the general election to officially become the mayor of New York City. So that's going to happen, I believe, November 4th, 2025. Keep that day in mind if you live in New York City. But those are people they normally don't like. But regardless of what corporate Democrats decide, they at least will not go so hardcore to it's like arrest these people or put them in prison and stuff. I can guarantee Trump will do that as he has been doing with U.S. citizens anyway. And that's the difference. Republicans go much harder. They're much more fascist. So we gotta keep that in mind. So we'll see how it goes. I do want Musk to make the American Party official to potentially split the votes of the Republicans. And I think that will actually be the result of it. It might benefit him. Who knows? It might have people from that party win, but it might actually just benefit the Democrats. Because I don't think it's going to be a negative impact for Democrat Party. So I think Democrats are going to be safe. I think it's going to be for the Republican Party they have to think twice about it if it becomes official. So let me know what you guys think about this whole situation in the comment section. We can debate if you agree that the American Party should become official, if you would even think of joining it, or you vote for anyone from that party, or if you think it's just going to be a good thing for the Democrat Party in the long term, especially for the midterm election. If you think Musk will even continue with this idea, if he actually make it official, or if he thinks he's going to backtrack, because he goes back and forth on these things, so it's hard to know, just like Trump does. But Trump tends to be more consistent in what he would do, and he does it more so than Musk. So let me know what you guys think on that. If you like the video, like and subscribe. If you're watching this TikTok, follow us on TikTok. And again, if you want to support us, we have a Patreon. $1 per month just to support us. All right, guys. Have a safe weekend.